All right, it is Wednesday. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It's office hours here on the Academy. Hi, Andrew. How are things?
Oh, not too bad. I wanted to thank you again for holding down the fort last week, especially at the last minute. I am very happy to be back this week.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. What's been going on? Now we essentially have 2 weeks to catch up on stuff.
Yes, of course, always something. Our community does not sleep, I'm pretty sure. The news is always coming. So I got a few things that I've come across that I found interesting. If you want to share my screen.
I certainly can.
All
There we
right.
go. And this is the way we like it.
Thank you, sir. That looks perfect to me. So first thing that I came across actually is a new post from today, I believe, from Rudy. Maybe yesterday. Anyways, there is a new MDM enrollment version 6.0. So in usual Rudy fashion, posted a nice deep dive on what that means. I did happen to catch in here that there may be some updates around how virtual TPM and cloud PCs actually go through hardware attestation. That is, today they really can't in Intune. So version 6 may be, as Rudy says here, a step forward in addressing that issue. So Rudy did a little bit of a deep dive, a little investigation, as he normally does with these things. And I say a little, but with a deep dive, we know that it's actually quite a bit. So I thought this was cool. Just some upcoming real cutting edge stuff here from Rudy over on the Patch My PC blog. Recommend checking this out. Also saw a blog post from Peter Vanderwoode around getting started with quick machine recovery. So this is just a more recent version or a more recent functionality that helps you recover Windows devices a little bit quicker. And you write a nice, well-documented blog post here on how to actually set that up on your devices and utilize it. Very cool. Also came across this announcement related to Security Copilot, more specifically Security Copilot in Intune and Entra. Been out for a while now, since mid last year, but it is now general availability. I still haven't had too much. I've seen plenty of demos and videos and stuff on this. I haven't gotten to play around with it too much myself, though. Have you had the opportunity to do so, Johan?
I have not.
Unfortunately, it's a little costly for a lab, unfortunately, but hopefully someday we get the opportunity to do that. Nevertheless, if this is something you're using or your organization was looking at, but we're waiting for it to go GA, now is that time. And then this last thing I came across was quite interesting. Little funny, but also interesting for what we do. So there was this, I think I came across this on maybe like the sysadmin subreddit, but I just want to read the headline here. Mercedes-Benz expands collaboration with Microsoft to boost in-car productivity with enhanced meetings for Teams app, Intune integration, and Microsoft 365 Copilot. I never thought that I would see the day that we can manage our devices, but Johan, I really think that you and I might need to get a new test machine. I'd be willing to share it. We could have some sort of schedule, but
I'll bring it up with management.
but sure enough, I mean, I read that headline and I was like, no, Intune integration, there's no way. There it is. There's the paragraph for it. So I found that quite interesting, to say the least. I'm curious to see the first person that ends up utilizing this or testing it. Please reach out to Johan and I, because we got to hear about it.
That is amazing.
But yeah, that's what I've come across.
It's funny. Many years ago, I was presenting a couple of sessions at TechEd at the
Hmm.
time with the 7 embedded, and I found out there was a company called Digital Beverages that was selling a martini mixer that ran Windows 7 embedded. And I
Wow.
was trying to get my hands on one of those. Like, that's pretty brilliant for deployment, but that didn't work out well either. So I've still cool though.
A boy can dream.
Boy can dream. Yeah. All right. But I have a couple of things. Let me share my screen here.
All right.
Boom, boom, boom.
I like these comments in here real quick. National Safety Council will not approve of in-car meetings, and Michael and Zach, pleased to know that this is a problem I won't ever be able to afford.
It's amazing.
No managing your Mercedes-Benz S-Class with Intune.
Isn't
All
there a
right.
famous saying? It's uh, how is it? Money can't buy happiness, but it's more
Yeah.
comfortable to cry in a Mercedes.
Yep. I love it.
Anyhow, total sidebar. We need to get back on track here.
Yes.
This is, of course, a very exciting folder. A bunch of ISO files that I'm using for imaging and whatnot. And the ones that are dated June here are obviously media that is refreshed in June. And Microsoft made an announcement just this week around that, and one of the
Hmm.
managers reached out and what I thought about it, and I was almost in tears because this is beautiful. This should have been done like 10 years ago, but finally Microsoft are shipping updated apps, not just 6 months old anymore, but like refreshed to the month on the media itself. I haven't had a chance yet to test how much that actually reduces the initial payload. Some of the apps will be basically be outdated within the week anyway, but right now there is a gig payload every time you deploy a new Windows box. And
Hmm.
if that one can be reduced to, say, 50 megs, well, I'm all for it. So
You
I'm
actually
looking
wrote
forward.
about that at some point, right?
Many times I've been
Yeah.
over the years.
Thinking of your maybe your 2 pint post that showed how
Oh
many
yes, yeah,
connections.
yeah, yeah, indeed. This one here, um, it was up on the blog I wrote. Numbers.
Yes, yes, that's it.
So lies down lies and statistics. But yeah, we were trained 23H2 at the time, and found out that the initial payload still was around a gig because I was deploying 25 machines, and they each uh, total it was 26 gigs. So
Hmm.
of course, some of that was non-peerable content, but still, there was just updates to the built-in components. The image itself was fully patched already.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see how much that changes now when we have a media that is have those built in. So
Yep.
I think I have to redo that test. Of course, this is only for 24H2.
Hmm.
So there's a couple of apps here. I didn't see Teams in here. Or that Teams Home, whatever they call it.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that one anyway, so wouldn't care too much. And some of you may actually remove some of these apps anyway before deploying, and if you do that, you don't have to update them. But it's really nice to see them in box. It was a great announcement, I thought.
Agreed.
All right. Uh, Then on another note, I was helping out a customer earlier this afternoon, one of the universities here in the country, to add VNC into the boot image so they can do remote management. And I figured I could talk a little bit about that because I made some interesting discoveries, I thought, in the newer versions of UltraVNC. First of all, just finding the downloads, that's an art on itself, but if you click around through the website a couple of times, you'll find it. So I figured we could start there. So ultravnc.com, I can't even type it. This one here. If you go to the downloads link here, that's the one I just added up here. You will have to scroll down. I was like, where are the downloads? Because I start to go through these different links and check the GitHub and whatnot. Like, no, that there are no releases there. But sure enough, when you scroll down, you will find the latest binaries here. And if you scroll down a little bit, there are two files I recommend getting. One is the MSI, so you can deploy the viewer through either Intune or ConfigMgr, whatever you like to deploy MSIs with. And then I recommend snatching the zip, because that has the file that you add to your boot image. So, long story short, you download the zip file, and out of that zip file, let's see here, I put it somewhere here. You borrow this file here, and you copy it to an empty folder. So imagine, for example, that this folder happened to be empty. I have it running, so I need to close it. So this is an empty folder, we can agree. So in the early versions of VNC, when you launch the utility, it always saved an init file in this location. So I was a bit surprised when it didn't. So I started it up. I set the password I wanted to have. And I clicked OK, and I expected an init file to be created. But it doesn't. Even if I check the log file, it says that an init file was created. So if I open this one again, I go to the log, you can see that created config file. There is no config file. By default, it creates it in the registry instead. So to trick it into not run it in, store it in the registry, you need to create an init file yourself. So you create an init file, ultra, see if I can spell correctly, vnc.ini. You make an admin section, and you say use registry equals 0, and you save it. So now you open the tool again, type in the password, and when you open the init file now, you can see it added a lot of stuff to it, including the password here. It's hashed. I promise you this was not the password I typed in, but it's a pretty basic DES encryption, but it's not easily converted into a password field. And we only use it during the WinP phase here for this example. Of course, you can use it later in Windows also. VNC supports that. But then the only thing that you need to do is basically fire up a virtual machine for testing. I'm going to borrow this one here, a clean snapshot. I'm going to connect it to one of my other networks here. We're going to New York today. So those two files you can just add to your boot image. or you can have a script that just downloads them from a web server or do a net use to a file share and downloads them to the device. But they are so small, so I don't really see the harm of having them in the boot image. So at this point, if I open up a command prompt and just connect to that server where I stored my stuff, see it all around this machine, and the user account, super secret. You need to have 2 backslashes in front of the server name. All right, F drive. This would be my temp folder here. Those were the files. So if I create something on my X drive, UltraVNC, and copy those files over to that folder, this would be the equivalent of having them added to my boot image here. And the only thing you need to do is actually launch that thing. And it will be running in the background. You don't see it popping up or anything. So if I know the IP address of this machine here, it's 10.107, I can try to connect to it from the viewer here, except it's going to fail. Why is it going to fail? It's not going to work. I won't be able to even ping that machine. Why is that? Because with P, you have a firewall on by default. So you need to disable that firewall. And that is done through a command called wp-util, disable firewall. Now I should be able to ping that device. And now I should be able to connect to that device. If I open it again, type in the password, and now I am connected to that device, remote access. Brilliant. If you want to do this a bit more fancy, you can have a PowerShell script that launches VNC early, report the IP address and, for example, the computer name up to a web service or dashboard or file share even, create a shortcut so that techs in your company can easily know which machines that are being deployed and, remote into them. But I thought it was a quick little intro to some of the gotchas I stumbled across in the new versions of UltraVNC and how to mitigate that. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you, sir.
While we're on the topic of remote viewing tools, Zach actually just asked a question over here on YouTube. What would you recommend to use for a remote viewing tool when trying to support Windows 365 devices? He's starting to look at it a little bit more seriously and trying to support fully remote devices.
I mean, technically, I guess VNC worked, but I would probably not do that part.
Yeah.
My favorite remote tool, no matter what platform, is ConnectWise. I haven't tried it for cloud PCs, but we have a couple of customers using it, and I'm in love with that tool. It is expensive but fantastic. It even have that backstage option where you can remote into device when the user is logged on at the same time and they don't see you, you don't see them. It's like a second separate session running a system. So you have full access to it. So maybe that, if that works for cloud PCs, I would recommend ConnectWise. If you're tight on money, I guess open source solutions like Mesh Central may work, but again, I haven't tried.
Mm-hmm.
This one is free though, so free is nice.
It's a pretty good price.
Yeah, just one little bit concern with this little friend. It's built on Node.js. So make sure you get a library that is not compromised when you snatch it. There were some security issues. Forgot it was 2-3 years ago. Yeah. Anyhow.
With Node, yeah, yep, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah. And this works in WinP as well. Pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, that is not the only question we've had come in. Quite a few hellos from some familiar faces. I see David and Dean have joined us today too, so hello to you guys. And same to Matthew, who also has another question for us here on the config manager side of things. So he's installed several new DPs. Some have an error in monitoring distribution status, DP config status. It says DP config has changed, SMS client error. Nothing else in the message has not updated in 5 days. Any idea on how to begin troubleshooting that or getting more information?
Well, the HMan log file and the comp management log file, they are often a good starting point on the site server if there were any problems contacting the DP. Otherwise, it would be log files on that DP itself. The most common issues I've seen is that, I mean, if I open up one of my DPs here, like this one, it's making sure that the site server account is a local admin on the DP itself. Making sure that the site server can access the ports that are required. So an admin dollar will verify port 445 and 135 if that's available. I recommend doing a WebM test to it. Yes, you see that you can connect through WMI to that machine. Because if you cannot connect here, you have firewall issues. And then make sure all the previous components are there. I've seen so many times, but I actually it's funny, I was not troubleshooting a DP, but I was troubleshooting an MP for an organization. So we were comparing, okay, what components were actually installed, because there are a good chunk of components that are required for each role. So up on our GitHub repository, let's see here. If you go to the config manager folder, we have this one here. This is just a one-liner, but it adds all the features that a distribution point requires. So I would make sure those are there. And I like to add them before enabling the role on the server. And of course, make sure DNS is functional, because basically ping that DB from the site server, and it needs to do the full qualified domain name, and it needs to answer with the right address. But other than that, most times it's hardening, it's firewall, TLS settings, stuff like that prevents a DB from being happy. But if I go here and search for distribution point, there will be one that shows what ports that needs to be available from the site server to the distribution point. So those were the ports I was showing you earlier. Mm-hmm. I did not mean to do that. I meant to do this. So maybe that.
All right. I see a comment here over on YouTube. My work is finally doing a POC in our CCM QA environment of Patch My PC. Very happy about that.
All right, sounds good.
All Right. A couple of comments. I think you're probably not the only person excited about the media being updated, Johan, with those inbox apps. So Sean mentioned they previously had the store completely disabled. So as part of their onboarding, imaging, they would enable the store, enable auto update, then lock it down with App Locker. Got rid of a lot of the store app issues folks were seeing, but definitely a welcome change having those inbox apps updated. And Matthew made a comment here too. CrowdStrike might not yell at you, yell at us as much with those apps being updated.
Yeah, I mean, it's often. Sometimes you talk to folks that I don't realize there are security updates in those updates also. It's not just functional updates. And it only takes that one unsecure platform or app on a platform for it to be compromised. Then you have a bad weekend.
Exactly. Gary's got a great point here too. Hope they update the inbox apps each month. Didn't see that specified in the post specifically. So
I just read it as all medias going forward will be updated, but we can verify. I mean, heck, it's July 16. When was Patch Tuesday? July 12.
What's today? The 8th? The 8th?
Yeah, 1 week. Yeah. So maybe it's already all. Let's check. They usually keep a 7 days delay. So if you're lucky, July media is there. This one.
And I know you're logging into Visual Studio here too, but related, we got a question on YouTube. Will the ISOs from the VLSC also include these updated store apps? Presumably, yes. I mean, these days is there even any diff?
No, the media has been the same, and I saw Gary posted that July media has been posted. So that is brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you there. But yeah, July media is here. So if you don't mind, I'm going to snatch the 24H2 because it was only for 24H2 and above, which is, I was hoping for 23H2 also, but I guess we don't have a chance of getting that one fixed.
Yeah. I also see Mr. Michael Niehaus has joined us too, and who, by the way, I think had a birthday here recently, so happy birthday, Michael. But any chance they updated the antiquated OneDrive setup.exe at the same time? It definitely was not in the post, I don't think, but...
I mean, this is a solid question.
Yeah, fantastic.
I haven't checked. We'll certainly do in 20 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, the pessimist in me has an answer, I think, but
I wouldn't bet on it since it was not highlighted.
Yeah.
Gary, of course, is ahead of me. Anyway.
You'll have to take note of that for next month. We'll have a race between you two.
Hitting that refresh button on Tuesday night.
Yeah, exactly.
It was actually up. It was posted yesterday. So they are keeping their 7 days still.
Yeah.
From Patch Tuesday. I know that I was talking to one of the managers at Ignite a couple of years back, and their goal was to release it on Patch Tuesday. But a week delay is still way better than it was before, but it could be 3-4 weeks until we got the new media. But anyway, very excited. Very excited.
Or I like to reminisce about the old days where we wouldn't get one. Like ever. No.
Yeah.
That's not an example of the good old days. All right. Saw a question here from Jeff on YouTube. What are all these crowns in the chat about? I noticed when I joined yesterday from YouTube. So when Johan and I are streaming, we're on a different platform that happens to aggregate all of our chats. So we don't see all of the functions in the actual platform. But when I joined on YouTube, I saw that I could heart things like you could in, on like a live stream on Twitter or whatever. So maybe that's what's coming through.
Could be.
All right, Matthew's got a situation where he moved a PC over to a new VLAN, trying to install the ConfigMgr client, but the console, the properties for the device in the console are showing the old IP address. Tried a full system discovery, and now it shows both the old and new IP address in the properties. How can I update that?
I mean, there is some information that is done through the regular data discovery or discovery of the device. That is populated quite quickly up to the console. Then you have other information that's based on hardware inventory, and those are typically run only daily. On the devices. Most organizations run them at most daily, because otherwise you'll be in a world of pain in terms of your database, your poor site server having to deal with all that stuff. So maybe force full hardware inventory and give it a wait. That data should eventually be cleaned out. The same goes for boundary groups. Your boundary group membership will also update. It can take a while, or until you restart the client service or restart the device or something like that. So usually it's about a little bit of patience for those. Make sure that you add it in as a boundary. So if it's a new VLAN, make sure that gets added as a boundary range or IP range, and get added to the right boundary group, so that it will tell the clients which resources to use.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
I think we have a force inventory script somewhere. Not terribly complicated. It's just a one-liner with the WMI call is a one-liner, but you can, let's see, get rid of some stuff here. It was helping a customer figuring out what peers their devices were using. That was fun. Script, modern version of Windows supports, telling you what peers a device was using. You parse that data and present it. So we found devices basically crossing sites for friends.
Interesting.
Not ideal unless your goal is to nuke the network, but often that is not the goal.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so this is my fantastic little script here. I'm so proud. This one forces a full hardware inventory on the device. So, maybe that.
All right.
You can use right-click tools if you have that.
Yep.
Even the community version have fancy stuff. Because when you do it in ConfigMgr, if I pick a machine here, let's see what I have. Location collections. This will do just fine. So if I pick a device and do client notifications and do download computer policy or these guys here, the hardware inventory that you pick here is just the delta. But if you have the right-click tools from Recast available and you do the same thing, you get a question. Would you like to do a full hardware inventory? Here. And it doesn't. And every time I have WMI or inventory issues on a device, this is like the first mitigation force a full hardware inventory, have some coffee, and come back and check.
Yeah, actually, Mike O'Leary's got a comment in here. Script solves a lot of problems. So,
Yep, indeed.
definitely. All right, Matthew's going to try it out. So, Matthew, if that fixes your problem, we'd love to hear about it. All right. Matthew's got another question here. I believe the answer is yes, but can I do an OS update from Windows 10 22H2 to Windows 11 24H2?
Absolutely, yes. That is fully supported.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Got another question here. I'm trying to remember where you demoed this too. Can you point me to the information to query a Windows 11 not ready and ready collection set based on a Windows validation task sequence? Saw a video of you a while back, but can't find it now.
Yes. Let me jump over to this lab.
Yeah. Might have been here on office hours.
May have been. But something that we leverage heavily in upgrade projects is we use validation sequences that basically does that only. We use them to pre-cache content, and we use them to verify that the device is ready for an upgrade without interrupting the user. So we just run the checks. And then based on that result, so in this case, I have a validation sequence. I think this is for a 23. I might have both, actually, thinking of it. Yeah, but this was for 23H2 we were working on. And if I go to the deployment node here, you can see I have added in the deployment ID column. It's not there by default, but you can add it. So now I know which deployment ID this one has, which is different from the package ID. So this one is interesting. Now I can go to a collection and I can basically ask, like this one, if my validation fails, I will have a query for that. So this one is super simple. I'm just looking for if the sequence failed or not. So you can see here, I am, if I open it in the code editor, can zoom in a little bit. I'm looking for that specific deployment ID and whether it was a failure. So 11170 is tears and sadness and all of that good stuff, or bad stuff, I say. Whereas 11171 is happiness. So I have two collections with queries, but different codes I'm looking for. So if a machine fails, it will end up in this collection here. If it succeeds, it will end up here. And you get, I'll buy you a beer if you get which collection that would make sense to deploy the upgrade to. That would be the one that passed the validation. And also in this collection, I often include an exclude also query, where once devices gets upgraded, they get removed out of that collection.
Nice.
And these queries we have up on our our script somewhere here. Not after pre-caching sources. That was not what I was looking for. This one here. So those are the. We'll make sure to share this link, but it's up there. All
Perfect. Right. Awesome solution, sir. I should have answered your question too. That way I could have a beer after office hours.
I'll see what we can do.
Sounds good. All right. Yeah, I see a follow-up here from Mike on that hardware inventory script. He mentioned that it solves a lot of problems, particularly when trying to move machines through cascading query-based collections. Absolutely.
It can take a while. I mean, when we do site reviews for organizations like health checks, one of the it's not the first thing we check, but one of the early things that we do check for is basically how are you guys doing in your queues? Are they like constantly full with long running queries? I don't have any all running in my lab right now. Or just, okay, how are we doing on run times for the collection evaluations? Both for the full evaluation as well as the incremental ones. Because sometimes you get customers that are just downright creative. They will create a SQL query that has a nested query, that has a nested query, that has a nested query, and it takes like 2 hours to run. And that, of course, affects everything else in terms of collection evaluation also. So that is also a trick.
Yep, absolutely.
There is a latency to the collection evaluation.
Awesome follow-up here too, from your task sequence demo there a few moments ago. That's what I was messing up. I was trying to use the package ID. Thank you for that. So kudos, sir.
All right, perfect. Well, I mean, it's so easy to think that is the deployment ID because it's right there next to the sequence. Yeah, of course. But nope.
All right.
And it doesn't help it's not enabled by default either.
No.
You have to select it.
Amir's got a question here, and this one might be for us and the chat as well. So, has anyone deployed ManageEngine's Endpoint Central agent during Autopilot? Package is behind our admin portal, so we must manually download and update it. Each time a new version is released, we rebuild the Win32 app manually. There's no alert or notice when this release happens. Once there, the current package silently self-updates the latest version, performs a full uninstall of the older version, and this happens so quickly that Intune fails to detect the fresh install. Autopilot then marks the deployment as failed due to this mismatch. Opened multiple tickets with ManageEngine about this. So far, haven't found a way to pause or postpone the self-update. Has anyone found a workaround or have suggestions to help?
Oh, I certainly haven't tried.
Well, I have not worked with that product specifically, but of course, this is why I mentioned for anyone in the chat, if anyone has used that and can help Amir out with that, that'd be great.
The only experience I have of ManageEngine was I stumbled across a customer who couldn't figure out why their Intune enrollments were failing. Their devices were already enrolled into ManageEngine because a different set of people were using that to run scripts on the devices, because that apparently is one of the good use cases for that platform. But devices and being enrolled into multiple systems management stacks at the same time didn't work so well. Intune got heavily upset. So we had to unenroll them from ManageEngine, and then they would happily enroll into Intune. But it took me a while to figure out. It's like I didn't know.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense. And I'm like, wait a minute.
What's this?
Yeah.
So Jeff had a recommendation here of just using a custom detection script that sets higher versions considered to be, they're uninstalled. Might be something you could try.
Brilliant. Then I'm gonna showcase. Where is Jeff? There is Jeff. Yeah, that's a good idea. Great idea, even.
Yeah. Thanks for that recommendation, Jeff. I love how that comes up. I have to peek up now. Peek up above the chat.
Yeah, no greater than something.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Man, awesome questions today and conversation too.
I love it. It's 5 Wow. Time.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, that went quick. But we've still got 12 minutes.
We do. 13 if you count high.
That's true. I could share something. So, Johan, you're aware of this. So, if you have, for the longest time, Microsoft has had a package that you could use for internal use and home labs and things like that called the Action Pack. Action Pack's been around for, what, decades?
At least 2 decades, maybe more.
Yeah. So Action Pack has now gone away in favor of a couple of other um, offerings, which I'll keep my opinion to myself on on that. But the one that I decided to go to that was most aligned with what I use had a Windows 365 Cloud PC. I've seen them. I think I've probably used one or two. Johan, I know you've used them in the past for doing things like putting together Win32 app packages a little bit quicker, but I had never actually provisioned one out of Intune. And oh my gosh, was it easy. And so I just wanted to highlight that if this is something you're testing, if you don't mind sharing my screen for a moment, Johan.
I do not mind at all.
Jonathan over at System Center Dudes put together this super easy to follow blog post on provisioning these devices, as well as some things to look out for and everything. I was shocked to see how simple it was to actually assign I mean, I know how to assign a license and then basically assign a provisioning policy to a group that has Windows 365 licensing. And boom, a few minutes later, maybe a little bit longer, your users actually have a full Windows 365 cloud PC available to them. Just fantastic stuff. So thank you, Jonathan, for putting this together because I did not have to reinvent the wheel, that's for sure. And I have to say, too, once I finally connected to it, it was fast. They work pretty darn well, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with customers that are using as a consultant when you come in. If I get a Windows 365 PC, I'm smiling up to here. They are, as you said, they are very quick.
Yeah.
And then we have the folks that are using like Citrix VDI.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many things, but quick is typically not one of them.
Nope.
You get disconnected, you have to do a push coming in, and it's just, get thrown out every 20 minutes. It drives me crazy. Trying to get the work done, and just,
Have you worked with anyone that provisioned an Azure Virtual Desktop for you as opposed to Windows 365 Cloud PC?
No, I have not. I mean, I know they're around, but it's been pretty much either a ConnectWise portal, or it has been a Citrix VDI, or it's been a Windows 365 Cloud PC. Those are the most commonly used that you get as a consultant. And then, of course, we have the folks that also send you a laptop in addition to that sessions. You need to be on their machine.
Yeah, of course.
So there have been scenarios where I had multiple machines in the office just to be able to work with, different environments. Like, good Lord. This is 2025. I do not need this.
So many machines. Zach just gave me something to test later this evening. Windows app on iPad works fantastic, in his opinion, for Windows 365. So I will be trying that this evening for sure.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, if it works well, that's, for like a short trip, going out of town for a short time or something, or just mobile, even leaving the house for just a little bit. But I want to have something with me. Maybe I don't want to carry my full laptop. That's intriguing.
An iPad Pro by the pool, just click.
That's not bad.
Bad.
Watch now. Next week at office hours, it'll just be me in my sunglasses with my drink and umbrella.
Sounds good.
All right, I see Amir followed up a little back and forth here with Jeff and Amir. The detection is based on an existence of a file, not its version, but the fact that it uninstalls the whole folder and registry keys doesn't leave anything in time for Intune to check for. And then Jeff mentioned maybe wrap the installation routine in a script and work around the routines mess. So looks like Amir is going to give that a shot. Fantastic. You and I have fun with office hours, Johan. They're wonderful every week, but I got to say it's one of the best things when I see two people in the chat actually, come to a possible solution on something. It makes me so happy.
Indeed, it happens not every week, but when it happens, it's warm and fuzzy feelings. It's good stuff.
That's, as you always say, that's community right there.
Community. All right. Any other comments or questions? We still have a whopping 6 minutes to go here. You're not letting us off easy today, are you?
Figure everyone probably ran out to buy their new Mercedes-Benz so they could test it in Intune.
Or BMW, whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, some comments. Happy to help, basically. Yes, we love it. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not see any other questions coming in.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, everyone, this has been fantastic. Thank you all out there for what you do, and thank you, Andrew, for being back here at the at office hours.
Yeah, thank
without
you. No, I hear you. Happy to be back, and thank you, Johan, and thank you everybody for joining today. Fantastic session today.